It's the beginning of 1998 and pop culture is exploding like never before. South Park has just launched a few months ago and is already shocking the world with its humor. Meanwhile, Titanic was smashing the box office, becoming the biggest movie in history at the time. Hell, even I was born this year. Not bad, eh? And while Titanic was sinking on the big screen, Monday Night Raw was rising like never before. In the wrestling world, things had been absolutely wild leading up to 1998. Just a couple of months earlier, the Montreal Screwjob shook the entire industry and WWF lost one of its biggest stars, Bret Hart. In October, we saw Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker deliver the banger 5-star Hell in a Cell match, and in that match, Kate made his unforgettable debut. Meanwhile, the Monday Night Wars were in full swing. WCW Monday Night Raw was dominating the ratings, and Monday Night Raw hadn't beaten them in over a year and a half. WCW Monday Night Raw had the NWO running wild, and fans were tuning in every single week. WWF knew they had to do something spectacular if they wanted to survive the war. And that fight back starts right here, with the very first episode of Monday Night Raw in 1998. The very first Raw of 1998 kicked off with none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. At this point, Austin was already the fan favorite, the guy everybody was tuning in to see, but he still hadn't reached the top of the mountain. He wasn't WWF champion yet, and he made it crystal clear that was about to change. Austin told the world he was going to win the Royal Rumble, then take the championship at WrestleMania 14. The Texas Rattlesnake warned the locker room that while everybody was gunning for him, they'd better remember one thing. They all had targets on their back too, and in true Stone Cold fashion, he promised to strike first and raise hell like only he could. From there, we went straight into the first match of 1998, Farouk vs Ken Shamrock. But before the bell, let's set the stage. By the end of 1997, the Nation of Domination was running strong. Led by Farouk, the group included Dio Brown, Kama Mustafa, and most importantly, the newly crowned Intercontinental Champion, The Rock. Not long ago, Rocky Maivia had reinvented himself as The Rock, and he was already making waves as one of the most charismatic and cocky stars in the company. On the other side, we had the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. Shamrock was presented as a legit fighter, a no-nonsense submission specialist who could snap at any second. And he wasn't just circling the nation for fun. He was already scheduled to face The Rock for the Intercontinental Championship at the upcoming Royal Rumble. This rivalry actually went back months. On the September 15, 1997 edition of Raw, Farouk injured Shamrock with a vicious spinebuster, sparking a personal feud. So when Raw's first match of the year was announced, Farouk vs Ken Shamrock, the tension couldn't have been higher. This wasn't just about a single match. It was about revenge, momentum, and setting up the tone for the Royal Rumble. From the opening bell, Farouk targeted Shamrock's ribs, slowing the pace and trying to keep the world's most dangerous man grounded. Midway through the match, The Rock made his way to ringside to oversee things personally, shouting instructions to Kama and Dio Brown in an effort to ensure another nation victory. The Rock's plan looked to pay off when he ordered Kama to hold a steel chair in the corner so that Farouk could whip Shamrock straight into it. But in a sudden twist, Shamrock reversed the Irish whip, sending Farouk crashing into the chair instead. Sensing his moment, Shamrock hit a belly-to-belly suplex and walked in the ankle lock, forcing Farouk to tap out. With that, Shamrock has now defeated every member of the nation except The Rock himself, the man he is set to face for the Intercontinental Championship at the Royal Rumble. After the match, Chaos continued at ringside as Farouk and Kama argued, while Shamrock and The Rock walked ice inside the ring. But before they could come to blows, the glass shattered, and Stone Cold Steve Austin stormed to the ring, hit both The Rock and Shamrock with Stone Cold stunners, and slipped back through the crowd just as quickly as he arrived. When we come back, the NWA is in the house. Jim Cornette stands in the ring with Dennis Corauzo and Howard Brody representing the National Wrestling Alliance. The crowd is booing wildly, but Cornette isn't backing down. He is here to bring tradition back to wrestling. Tonight, the NWA North American Heavyweight Championship will be awarded to the winner of the next match. Inside the ring, it's Jeff Jarrett taking on Barry Windham. Windham starts strong, using his size and power to control the early moments. Jarrett fights back, showing his resilience and determination. But the match isn't going to stay clean. As Windham sets up for a big move, Dennis Corauzo distracts the referee. And it comes Cornette, sliding into the ring and smashing Windham with his tennis racket. The chaos leaves Windham dazed, and Jarrett sees the moment, covering him for the pinfall. Jeff Jarrett is the new NWA North American champion. Cornette, Corauzo, and Brody celebrate, but the celebration doesn't last long. The glass shatters, and Stone Cold Steve Austin storms the ring, hitting Jarrett with a Stone Cold Stunner, mocking his walk, flipping him the middle fingers, and disappearing through the crowd. Back from commercial, Ken Shamrock speaks to the announce team about the Royal Rumble. Fired up over what Stone Cold Steve Austin did to him earlier in the night, Shamrock says he wants nothing more than for the Royal Rumble to come down to a one-on-one showdown between him and Austin, determined to be the last man standing against Stone Cold. Next up, things get interesting. Sunny heads to the ring in a schoolgirl outfit to serve a special guest ring announcer, and the crowd is all over it. She introduces our next tag team match. Skull and Tate Ball of the Disciples of Apocalypse taking on Sniper and Dragon from the Truth Commission, with the Jackal joining commentary. Jackal spends most of the match rambling about his big ideas while his team struggles to keep it together. It's a short, messy brawl, nothing special, but DOA takes control after the hot tag and finish it off with a quick DDT for the win. But here comes Kurgan, storming to the ring. He wipes out both DOA members with ease, showing off his size and power, while Jackal proudly walks on. The commentators hype him up as a major threat heading into the Royal Rumble, and honestly, that was the real point of the whole segment. A quick match, a dominant beatdown, and one message made clear: Kurgan is coming for destruction. D-Generation X hits the stage next, and Triple H rolls out in a wheelchair, selling a dislocated knee from last week. China by his side, pushing him to the ring as he brags about costing Owen Hart the WWF title. Hunter mocks Owen, calling him out for a fight despite the injury. Owen doesn't take long to respond, appearing on the Titantron, calling Triple H a coward, and vowing that when Hunter's right knee heals, he's going to break his left one. He tries to sell this new black heart attitude, but Triple H just laughs it off before ending the segment. After the break, we head into hour 2 with Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler now on commentary. Up next, Owen Hart vs Savio Vega, with the entire Los Boricuas crew at ringside, and DX watching from the ramp. Owen comes out aggressive, firing off with quick strikes and his signature athleticism, but the numbers catch up fast. Los Boricuas interfere every chance they get, while the referee struggles to keep order. Despite the chaos, Owen rolls up Savio for the win in just over 4 minutes. But the celebration doesn't last. Los Boricuas attack Owen after the bell and drag him to DX. Triple H mocks him from the wheelchair, even swapping him around before paying off the Boricuas for their help. It's a clear message from DX. The mind games continue, and Owen has got a long road ahead if he wants to pay back to the game. Next, a disheveled Paul Bearer makes his way to the ring, looking completely broken after last week's events. With Kane now gone, Bearer is falling apart, ranting about how much he hates The Undertaker and cursing the ground he walks on. He begs Kane to come home, but his voice cracks with desperation before he storms off in despair. Another powerful promo that keeps this storyline burning slowly toward the Royal Rumble. Backstage, Stone Cold Steve Austin is spotted leaving a locker room, and inside, Mark Henry is down on the floor, surrounded by chaos. Looks like Austin's still raising hell and taking out everyone in his path before the Rumble. We then get a recap of Mark Merrill's ongoing mistreatment of Sable, and Tom Brandi stepping in to defend her honor, which leads to our next match. In the ring, Mark Merrill hides behind Sable early on, trying to use her as a shield from Brandi's attacks. The crowd chants for Sable non-stop as tensions rise. After a short back and forth, Merrill hits the TKO, but before he can go for another, Stone Cold Steve Austin charges in and drops Merrill with a stunner. The crowd absolutely erupts. Mark Merrill technically wins by disqualification, but nobody cares. The fans got what they wanted. Another dose of Stone Cold chaos, and maybe just a hint of a smile from Sable as Austin walks off. Up next, we get one of the strangest moments of the night. The artist formerly known as Goldust comes out, dressed in full 70s gear with an afro and face paint, accompanied by Una Vashan. Even for 1998, this was a bold choice. Across the ring, it's Flash Funk, looking to bring some energy back to the show. The match is short, and Flash controls most of it, hitting his quick kicks and high-flying offense. But as Funk wipes the top rope for the tumbleweed, Luna shows him off right in front of the referee, and that's an instant disqualification. Funk gets the win by disqualification at just over 2.5 minutes, but the chaos isn't over. After the match, Goldust plants Funk with a curtain call, until Vader storms the ring. Vader clears house, chasing Goldust and Luna to the back, before helping Flash Funk up, even sharing a quick dance to close out the segment. Up next, it's WWF Tag Team Champions of the World, the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, taking on the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, in a non-title match. The Headbangers start strong, hitting double suplexes and keeping the champions on the ropes. But the Outlaws turn the tide, and chaos breaks out when both teams miss simultaneous drop kicks, accidentally taking each other out. The hot tag doesn't go as planned either. Mosh tries for a stage dive, but Billy Gunn rose him up for the pinfall at just under 5 minutes. Creative finish, and the win solidifies the Outlaws' credibility while the Headbangers fall a bit further down the pecking order. After the bell, Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie make a surprise appearance, chasing the Outlaws back to the locker room and keeping their feud alive heading into the Royal Rumble. Next, Don King hypes WrestleMania 14, teasing Mike Tyson's involvement. He says the deal isn't 100% done, but promises that once it is, it will be one of the biggest shows on earth. Classic Don King hype at full blast. It's main event time. We get a quick recap of the legendary Hell in a Cell match between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, building up the casket match at the Royal Rumble. Shawn Michaels comes out to the ring, calling out The Undertaker and trash-talking him as a loser. Druids wheel a casket to ringside covered in DX graffiti, and Shawn thinks it's Triple H and Chyna playing a joke and kneels by the casket, expecting them to pop up. But Triple H and Chyna appear at the top of the ramp, trying to warn Shawn it's not them. Before he can figure it out, the casket lid pops open and The Undertaker bursts out, grabbing Shawn and pulling him inside. The show goes off the air with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker fighting inside the casket. A perfect dramatic close to Raw, setting up the Royal Rumble in style. And that wraps up the first Raw of 1998. The show started with plenty of energy and carried that momentum into the second hour, delivering fun matches, entertaining promos, and memorable moments that truly captured the spirit of the Attitude Era. From Stone Cold running wild to Generation X causing chaos, from the intense tag team action to the shocking casket finale with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, this episode had it all. It perfectly set the stage for the Royal Rumble and hinted at the storylines that would define the year ahead. Whether you're revisiting this classic episode or watching it for the first time, Raw 1998 is a wild ride full of attitude, surprises, and unforgettable moments. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you at ringside.